Bom dia a todos. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much to join us today for the Israel Food Packaging Innovation Day. My name is Paula. I'm responsible for the food and beverage sector at the Israel Economic Mission to Brazil. From our team here today, we have Segal-Ordentlich, our economic consul to Brazil, and Deborah Lima, leading the sector of packaging and clean tech at our office. And I also would like to thank you, Paulo Silveira, CEO of the FoodTech Hub, to join us in this initiative. Well, we are going to start. Here you can see the agenda. So today we'll have first a presentation about Israel Innovation Ecosystem, then a presentation about the opportunities in Brazil and the food packaging challenge. And then we will have the pitch of 4 amazing technologies from Israel. And then to finish, a Q&A session. If you have any questions during the webinar, there is a Q&A option. Or you can, if you want, in the Q&A session, if you want to open your mic and make a question, you can also raise your hand and talk to us directly. If you want to make a question in Portuguese, there is no problem. We can translate to the companies, okay? Thank you very much. Tali, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and of course for Paulo. Thank you for the great partnership in recent years. It is very appreciated. Can you see my screen as a full screen, Paula? Or
yes.
Okay. So I'm here to talk a little bit about Israel ecosystem in a glance for those of you who haven't visited yet or don't know our ecosystem. So first, a little bit about ourselves. As Paula mentioned, we are the economic mission of Israel to Brazil. I'm the economic consul, and I'm part of a great group of 45 attachés that are around the world, all in financial capitals, and with the main goal to enhance the economic relationship between Israel and the country where we are at. Brazil being such a very important country, we have 2 economic missions, one located in Sao Paulo, the other one is in Rio. And we are divided by sectors, so we work together and individually promoting the sectors that we are professional at. On the left side of the screen, you can find some of the activities that we are doing. All of these activities, of course, we did in pre-pandemic days, but everything went to the virtual media. And we are doing almost everything, if it's exhibition, virtual delegation, and others, and waiting for the things to change to go back physically and to do these things. One thing that is very important that we do behind stage when we are doing these activities is the scouting. It's very important for us to be very precise and to answer the real needs and the real challenges that every company has from every side. So it's very important to us to find the right partners for Israeli companies, but also to find the right solution for Brazilian companies that are interested in the Israeli market. So we are here for you for any need from these areas. So some fun facts about Israel for those of you who didn't visit or waiting for the pandemic to end to visit us. So the Dead Sea, known in Hebrew as Yam HaMelech, I think we're the only one who call it the Sea of Salt. It's the lowest point on Earth, and it's surrounded, if you ask me, by the most marvelous view that you can find, the Negev desert, a real big desert. Numerous studies have shown that the Israeli people are happy people, are the happiest people among the Western nations. Israel is the only country in the world that has more trees than it had 50 years ago. We even have an holiday that focuses on that, where we plant new trees. Passenger in Israel, in the Israeli National Airlines, El Al, clap their hands when the aircraft touch the ground. And if you're in a lucky day, you might also hear them singing. And Israel has more museums per capita than any other country, including world's only one underwater in Eilat, and you're welcome to visit when you come to Israel. Some dry facts about Israel. So a territory of 22,000 kilometers square, half of the state of Rio de Janeiro. The official language is Hebrew. The currency is the Israeli shekel, which is a pretty stable currency. It's a 3.47 to the dollar today, and it's remained around that in the recent years. A population of 9 million people, and keep on counting, because the fertility of the Israeli people is one of the highest in the OECD countries. Geographically, we are located in the Middle East, surrounded by mostly Arabic countries in the land borders, and one border with the Mediterranean Sea. Our economy, it's considered a very high developed and stable economy, and this is also the point where the pandemic catched Israel. This was the moment. We have a GDP per capita of $40,000, growth rate of 3.4, credit rate of AA minus, and an export of $115 billion, which is a big number for a very small country. And again, we keep on counting. This is one of the gold of the not only the Israeli Ministry of Economy, but in the Israeli economy in general, due to the fact that it's a small market. So our eyes are always to globalize and to go to the world. And of course, we cannot ignore the pandemic and what the pandemic did to our economy. So as I said, it catches us in a good moment. So luckily in Israel, it was affected, of course, and the growth in 2020 was a -1, but it was less severe than other countries. And 2021 is expected to be better, to be with positive growth, and due to the vaccine and to even though we have another wave today, but still due to the vaccine and to the control that we have today on the pandemic, we do see a very optimistic forecast for 2021 that will be probably between 2 to 4% of growth. So in this thriving economy, we have more than 300 multinational operating in Israel. I'm guessing that you know most of the names, if not all of the names that appear on this board. All of these three multinationals have R&D centers in Israel. It's the core business, and it's happening there. 13% of the GDP is in Israel comes from the high-tech industry, and probably this number will grow when concluding 2020 and 2021, due to the fact that a lot of traditional industries and other industries had a setback during the pandemic, when the high-tech industry was the one to thrive and to actually succeed in those times. We have nearly 4,000 startups, which is a big number for a small country, and it's the highest concentration of leading startups companies. We are ranked third in the New York Stock Exchange market, only after US and China, and fourth as a global startup ecosystem. Again, after the big ones such as US, UK, and Canada. Israel has more than 1,400 startups rising every year. Some of them you might have known, heard, or used if it's the Waze that is probably helping you to get to places. The flash drive that not a lot of people know that was created in Israel. The first ever Intel processor was created in Israel. Mobileye for cars, the Iron Dome, Cherry Tomato, Pilcom, and others, and other solutions that came to the world that are from Israel. So why? How come science and technology is such a big thing in a very, very small country, very small and very young countries? Israel is a country with a lot of challenges. We are a very young country, 73 years old, very migration, a population that come from a lot of migration, diverse population that come from a lot of places, very challenging geopolitical environment, and lacking of any natural resources. Israel doesn't have water, we don't have mine, and everything was made out of the nothing. And if I had to say one word to explain why it happens in Israel, I would probably choose mindset. The state of mind in Israel is the one to lead this very thriving ecosystem, this great situation that we are in today. Finding solution from nothing out of something, because we didn't have much option. And therefore, we are very oriented to solution. It means taking risks. It means being very tolerant with failure. And when I say tolerant to failure, it's not only the people that research and that become very creative. It also comes from the institutions such as the government and other players in the ecosystem that knows to say that it's okay to fail, it's okay to try, it's okay to take your idea to the next step, and if it works, it works. Everybody wins. If not, at least we tried. And this is something that you will hear also from a lot of investors saying, I want this guy that already failed twice, because probably he learned his lesson and will know what to do in the on the third time. And this creates a very good ecosystem, an ecosystem that speaks to each other, which is very, very important for the ecosystem to succeed. So I will talk about a few. If it's the universities in Israel, you will not find a university in Israel that doesn't have something that is related to innovation, an innovation center, a VC, an accelerator, hubs that can help these very young minds, these very young ideas to go to the next level, to become commercial, to become the startups that everybody hear about. We have, of course, the government that supports a lot with the budgets and programs and speaks always to the industry and to the academy in order to see how we can succeed. The army, which is a very unique thing for Israel, the army is mandatory, and it gives people a lot of knowledge, but also a lot of experience. And we see a lot of new ideas coming from these young people that finishes the army. All other thing, it's a very small country with non-hierarchy. It's very easy to get from one to the other. One person once told me that you only need to know two people in order to get to the one that you really want. And I have to say that I kind of checked it in the recent years, and it's not wrong. It's mostly like that. You always know someone that knows someone, and there you can find your contact. And this is how ideas become a product and become the real thing. This also motivates the population, and we can see that 50% of the Israeli population between the ages of 25 to 64 have acquired higher education. That makes a very good human resource to work with and to succeed with. And how do we translate it to numbers? So this is the Israeli exit in the last decade. We have more than 1,200 deals that sum up to more than $110 billion, a huge growth. The one that you see in 2017, the big one in pink, it's the purchase of Mobileye by Intel. And great numbers that really help not only the name of the ecosystem, but also the economy in general. I cannot ignore 2020 that does not appear in this slide. 2020 had much less exits. Of course, it was very hard to do it while you cannot meet your partners, but surprisingly, at the end of 2020, we saw a lot of foreign money coming in, a lot of investments, not specifically exit and purchasing, but a lot of investing in new startup and Israeli startups. And we finished the year even higher, higher number of foreign capital coming to Israel than 2019. And very surprisingly, the first half of 2021, Israel raised more foreign capital than she raised in all 2020. So we expect to finish 2021 with a very good numbers. Some of the acquiring in the last decade that you probably know the names and the big corporates. Most of these purchasing becomes either a department in these companies in Israel, or become the core R&D centers that I spoke about before. So these are the companies. A little bit about Brazil and Israel. Well, we see our economies a very completing economy. First of all, Brazil is a very important partner for Israel. It's one of the 10 biggest export countries for Israel, and with a trade balance that sum up to $1.5 billion. Small number for Brazil, but a huge one and a very important one for Israel, and therefore we see Brazil as a very important ally. Israel-Mercosur, it's important to know when you come to do business with Israel, it's important to know that Israel has a free trade agreement with the Mercosur, Brazil being, of course, part of it and one of the most important in this agreement. All the items on this agreement are on zero import tax, and we have nearly 90% of the food tax group. So it's a very important thing to know when coming to do business, and we, as the economic mission, are here for you to check if the items is on the agreement and how you can get the benefits that this agreement gives. R&D agreement, also something very important for mutual projects and for mutual investments of our both countries. We have two agreements from the Israeli Innovation Authority with MBRP and one with FINEPI. These agreements work with an open call. A call that call for companies in both sides to collaborate and to suggest projects, and then they get budgets each from his side. It brought a lot of great projects, and if it's something that is in your interest, I would suggest to stay tuned and to see when is the next open call opening up. As being completing economies, we see Brazil as a country that wants to scale up, that is open for a solution and for innovation, and Israel a country with a lot of innovation to suggest and a will to share. So we see a lot of potential there. And talking about potential, this is why we are here today. It's all about the opportunities that it can bring. The Israeli solutions are diverse. They are very well adjusted to any new reality that needs. And today we are talking about packaging for the food industries, and Israel has some solution to offer. Today you will see 4 of these great solutions, and it will give you a glance of what Israel has to offer. But we do encourage you to turn to us if you want to speak to this company personally. First of all, you can turn to Paulo that is here with us, and to Deborah to arrange this kind of call. But if you're looking for more solution from these kind of areas and others, we are here for you. So thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you will enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tali. Yeah, the Israel innovation ecosystem, it's very passionate, right? Especially for the ones that are hearing about that for the first time. So I would like to invite now Paulo Silveira, CEO of the FoodTech Hub. Paulo, the stage is yours.
Very much. Let me see if I go up. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. As Tali said, our partnership came since the beginning of FoodTech Hub, a very strong one. Also have a very good relation with the Kitchen Hub in Israel, so we are always doing things together. I will be 5 minutes less because to keep the schedule, because the stars are the startups. So what is FoodTech Hub? It was created in 2018, end of it, October. And the idea is to select, capitalize, model, mentorize disruptive companies, and also food techs we are talking about, and also to boost open innovation. We are going to focus in several verticals I will show later on, but today we are virtual, but I can tell you that next year we are going to have a physical hub with a $3 million investment already committed by Givaudan, Biller, Cargill, and some other companies that we are talking to in order to receive companies from Israel, also other parts of the world, and also, of course, Brazilian ones. The ecosystem is university, industry, government very much linked to the Ministry of Agriculture, entrepreneurs, and venture capital. And we are operating Latin America, not only in Brazil. That is our vision. We look at the food system, is not only food tech. We go from inputs to consumption. And that is the verticals of interest aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals of ONU, and we have products and product systems. And the products here, we are running together with the Ministry of Agriculture a program to develop a roadmap for Brazil in alternative protein and also plant-based protein at all. Process and new technologies, we look very much. Food service, food safety, food loss and food waste, and smart packaging. So smart packaging, what we are going to talk later about our challenge. Brazil is accounted by 20% of biodiversity in the world. So we have a plenty of opportunities to develop new ingredients, new products. A lot of good universities, high technical research. And what is important to say that the ag and food industry in Brazil accounts for 33% of the GDP. It's a very big one. It has been sustained Brazil for many, many years in terms of inflow and outflow of products. We have GEF as a partner in venture capital. Here is some of the universities and institutes we have as part of, formally part of the hub. In Brapa, most of you knows, Ital and FEA from Unicamp in Campinas, Exalc, one of the top 5 ag universities in the world, so like Wageningen, something like that. And we have connected this ecosystem to the world. We are connected to Israel, to the kitchen. We are connected to EIT. We are connected to Fraunhofer, Vitagora, Valorial, Food Valley, Vagralin, and also Padang in Singapore. So and the idea to plug in is to get knowledge and also exchange knowledge with these partners. That is some of the industry partner association. This ABRE here is the Packer Association. I will talk a little bit later on. And how we work. We work as a membership model. Companies have a 1-year contract with the FoodTech Hub, and also big companies, small companies, medium companies, and also startups. Basically, startups, we don't charge any much because that's the idea to help them to show in the market. We have several benefits. We are connecting company to company, companies to food techs. We are doing scouting, as Tali said, to many companies in a regular basis. We have access to meeting members, breakfast, executive meeting. We do 4 events every year, 2 editions of FoodTech Expo, one in March, one in November, one International FoodTech Forum in June, and now in October we are running the World Food Day together with Bayer. So the idea of this event is to keep people connect and explore opportunities for the business. And here we have some service that I will mention. One of the most important is this Innovation Day, as we are doing here. We do in the companies, and also we do an innovation business model, which is a little bit more planning, involving leadership and trying to help companies to establish an organized way to innovate inside. That's what we do. Here we have an acceleration program called Boost Food together with Givaudan, which is a normal accelerator. Okay, let me show you. And then we have this food packet challenge that I talked about. We do a lot of challenges. We have the Food Tech Global Challenge, which is a large one. We have a food loss challenge together with Bayer, trying to find out startups to solve the food loss part of it. And we launch in June this Food Tech Challenge together with the most important association in Brazil, of packaging. So, and then we invite the companies like Danone, Cargill, Unilever, BRF, Givaudan to be part of this program, and they are all in. And the aim is to identify startups that are the user of disruptive technologies in several sectors that I will show you here. Let me say, bio-based material, smart packaging, recycling packaging, and packaging for reduction of the food waste. The Brazilian market for packaging is around 100 billion reais, which is around $20 billion market. Big ones, a lot of challenge, man. And I have to say that this packaging challenge is a very pioneer. It's the first one in Brazil. So packaging will be a new wave for the future in Brazil. Not too much up to now, but will be. We have a selection of startup, national and international, like yours. And we have a dynamic. First call was June 8th. Second call will be August 17th and the 3rd October. And the final will be on 23rd of November during the FoodTech Expo that I talked to Tali that maybe we could do with Israel together. So we select, there will be 5 per category to be in the final pitch. And we are going to, of course, build a jury members to evaluate. And we have a prize of 10,000 reais, which is not very much in dollar, but that's not the case. The case is to give this money to the startup to learn someone else. We can send to Israel, we can send to Food Valley, we can send to EIT. The idea is to give access to knowledge. And that is the registration, qualification, selection of finalists, October 18, deadline for presentation, October 29, and then selection 5th of November, and then the finals 23rd of November, as I said. We have all this that I mentioned in our site, foodpackagingchallenge.com.br. You have rules in English. You can go there and apply. And that is the companies sponsoring the program. What is important to say that when we launched this together with this company, we noticed that they all have more or less the same problem. Of course, some has particularities, but we are going to build an alliance for develop this concept of packaging in Brazil with these companies trying to address the same problem as they have. That is important to mention. So that's it. Tali, Paula, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you for the partnership, and also very happy to see that some of the sponsors are also here with us listening to this webinar. So thank you. So now we are going to have the startups presenting. Tali, do you want to call the startups?
Yeah, sure. I just don't have the right order.
No problem. So I'll go for it. So first we will have Danny Cohen from Evidence speaking. Danny, please feel free to start.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for organizing this nice session of introducing Israeli startups. Before I open my presentation, my name is Danny Cohen, and I'm responsible for business development all over the world. And we're dealing with TTI, time temperature indicator. If you Google TTI, you'd see a lot of information about TTIs. I'm showing you an example of a TTI that we designed and produced for McDonald's because they want to monitor their bands, customer experience, not only the meat, but also the bands. So once you activate a TTI for a defined time and temperature, it would gradually change the color, in this case, from green into red, which will be the end of the shelf life, and it will help in stores associates manage the inventory, and results are that the management is much more efficient, and they manage to decrease waste substantially. Let me show you a little bit of what we do. Okay, you can see my presentation, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what do we basically do with our TTI time temperature indicator? We help our clients on one side increase their sales, on the other side reduce costs by improving anything that is related to freshness monitoring capabilities. Today, during the COVID, the consumer is much more cautious about quality and the freshness of the products, especially when most of the buying is done online, and you just need to feel confident that the retailer will provide you with the freshest and the highest quality possible. So time temperature indicator is something known in the market. I just need to prove you that our sensor is probably a unique one. So where is it used? It would be used on the food production sides. Food manufacturer would like to monitor time and temperature, and to make sure there's no abuse during the production. The other places where you monitor freshness in terms of time and temperature would be in the supply chain, from the production to the distribution center onwards to the stores. And of course, at the stores, they have their own inventory in the stores, whether it's on the shelf. And the new thing that we are offering today is making it consumer facing as well. So the customer itself will gain confidence in the product and make sure he's aware that the product is fully fresh and did not go any kind of abuse. Here are some examples of SKUs or categories of food in which we could put our sensor. I'll show you later on the variety of sensors, because it's all been done in the printing industry. So the variety, the colors, the logos the matrix is very big. So you see the produce and floral on this side, you see bakery. All these SKUs are subject to temperature abuse. So the sensor provides a lot of information. The meat and seafood, the dairy, and of course pickup and online delivery. I'll show you the app, because today just having a sensor that changes color as a function of time and temperature is not enough. You need to have the digital side in which you could take a picture of the sensor. It would give you the remaining shelf life. This would go into a nice dashboard and connect it to the retailer or the food producer. So this is a case study in which we are running today tens of millions of sensors. The name of the retail chain is X5 in Russia, and the category is ready-to-eat meals, which is an emerging category. People buy ready-to-eat meals. They don't want to cook at home. They don't go out to restaurants. So it's a very emerging category, and the sensor is placed on the package. By the way, we have an FDA approval for indirect usage of our sensors on the package itself. And what happens is that at the starting point, when you activate the sensor, it has a specific color. It has another color when it goes to the midterm, and it goes to the end of life, which you're not allowed to use it. And the profile here is exactly what the customer asked us. 5 days at 5C. So this change in color would happen in 5 days in 5C. Of course, if the product was abused and put out in the sun or not in a temperature control environment, the color would change much faster. You see the variety, because we bring our know-how. By the way, we have 25 patents on this. We bring it to the printing house, which could be very close to the production facility of this specific food manufacturer or the retail. So the colors and the change in colors and the logo and the graphics can be changed and adhere any requirement from the customer. I told you about the app. The algorithm here is that you take a picture of the color of the sensor and it immediately translated to a remaining shelf life. It's very easy to run a pilot. We have a desktop machine which activates the sensors, so you could test, you could pilot it and get the touch and feel and run it very quickly. There's heavy duty machinery for mass production. You see, this is the conveyor at McDonald's of the bands, and the activation machine is running, the product is running on the conveyor, and the activation machine just applies the sensor on the package. This is a new product, very interesting one. We took all our know-how and technology to the barcode. And this was a request from a specific retailer in which a specific barcode would put on a specific product and would be in a full reading facing the barcode reader, and it would read it if the product is safe. If the product ends up its shelf life, it would be expired and would not be able to go through the cashier. It's very interesting that the retailer asked us to develop this product for him, so proof of concept is here. The mid one here is a markdown. Instead of throwing away the specific product, you could sell it at a discount of 30 or 40%. The customer, the consumer will know it's very close to the end of the shelf life, but still you could buy it at a markdown and not throw it away and avoid waste. This is called the face. About our company, we are 30 people and located in northern part of Israel, a very, very strong R&D team. Most of our R&D team are engineers, chemical, biotechnology, and the product is mature and in mass production. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Danny. Everyone, if you have questions, please send directly to Danny or to us in the Q&A button in the bottom of our page. So as next, I would like to invite Avital Levy from Tipa Corporation. Hi, Avital. Please feel free to start.
Thank you so much. And good morning to all the attendees. It is my pleasure to be here and to represent Tipa and introduce our high-performance compostable packaging as an alternative to single-use plastics. So let me just share my presentation and we can begin. So I'd like to start with the background that Tipa is operating in. Our startup Tipa was established 10 years ago when our co-founders were very concerned about all the non-biodegradable plastic packaging waste that surrounds us. Since the plastic packaging and in general plastic production started to be produced on at a massive scale in more or less middle of the 20th century, over 8 billion metric tons of plastics have been produced, most of it used only once prior to being discarded. Just think about all the single-use plastic that surrounds us every day. And more than half of this huge volume of plastics is still around us today. Most of the plastic waste typically ends up in landfills or in open environments, oceans, and other natural habitats, where it heavily pollutes the environment, leaves microplastics, which are nowadays found in the furthest corners of the earth, such as Antarctica, and human bodies, in the bodies of marine animals, and so on. And also, this plastic waste heavily contributes to climate change. Around 12% of the plastic waste is incinerated, which is also not a sustainable plastic waste treatment method. And only around 9% gets recycled. If we'll speak about flexible plastics only, then this number will be even lower, approximately twice lower, due to a number of reasons. Flexible plastics in particular are often not suitable to be recycled in the mechanical way because they are too thin or too small, because they're often contaminated with food, if we're thinking about food packaging, because they are comprised of multi-layer structures of different types of plastics and additives mix, which would need to be separated in order to recycle them properly. And so we've got this huge flexible packaging market valued at over $160 billion with no viable end-of-life solutions, at least until recently. It is actually estimated that the plastic production and consumption rates will triple over the next 3 decades. So just imagine if we've been dealing with a global plastic crisis until now already, what will happen in the next 3 decades if no viable alternative solution is found and adopted? And so having that in mind and being inspired by nature, Tipa has developed packaging that, on one hand, mimics the positive properties of conventional plastics, such as transparency. As you can see, the product is fully visible within this transparent stand-up pouch. Durability, shelf life and shelf stability. Our packaging will not biodegrade on the shelf, and it will not biodegrade on your product without composting conditions. Machinability, our packaging works with existing converting and bagging machinery. Printability, we use compostable inks and offer compostable printed solutions, as well as barrier properties. We offer a variety of materials with different properties and characteristics suitable for a wide range of products. And besides all these positive properties that we as consumers are all accustomed to, since our use of conventional plastics, our packaging has a huge advantage and a huge difference since it is fully compostable and it has the same end of life as your organic waste, let's say an orange peel or a banana peel. So to go into more details, here you can see our home compostable zipper bag, and the zipper is home compostable too, not only the flexible plastic part. So after the use, after the bag served its purpose and is no longer needed, it should be disposed of together with your organic waste, ideally into compost, either home compost or industrial compost, where it will be affected by heat, humidity, and oxygen, and it will break down into small particles, not microplastics, but small particles that will then be eaten and digested by bacteria and microorganisms. And as a result, the compost pile will turn into water, CO2, and nutrient-rich compost that can be used to nourish eroded and degraded soils and sequester carbon back into the earth. So basically, our packaging will come back to the earth as a resource and not as a waste. And so I'd like to share the scheme to show you how Tipa provides a solution for circular economy, and also at which points we can meet you as customers. So our packaging contains plant-based content. We only use fully compostable polymers for the production of our films and laminates. And if you are a converter, at this point, we can already meet you. So we can provide you with reels of unprinted films or laminates for conversion, for lamination, for creating finished packaging applications for your clients. If you're a co-packer, we can provide you with the printed reels of films and laminates. And if you're a brand or retailer, we can provide you with custom-made finished packaging applications according to your requirements in terms of the barrier needed for your product, the size, the dimensions, thickness, material, type of packaging application, printing, and so on. And as mentioned before, once the packaging is no longer needed, once it served its purpose, it should be disposed of together with your organic waste, ideally into compost, where it will fully biodegrade in the matter of months. And so I'd like to share a few more examples of our materials. here you can see a small part of our materials, and we manufacture a variety of them, starting from a single ply, a transparent film, such as our Tipa 302 home compostable film, that is suitable to pack a variety of products, from fresh produce to frozen foods and also non-food products such as fashion. And this film also works perfectly as a sealant layer in laminates. And to multiply laminates, such as our metallized 3-ply laminate LAM 106, that has an optimal moisture and oxygen barrier, and therefore is suitable to pack dry foods such as powder, tea, nuts, fruits, and so on. And here you can see an example of a finished packaging application. In this case, it is an open wicketed bag that's perforated that we've been producing for the Waitrose retail chain in the UK. And as you can see, they're packing their organic bananas in this home compostable bag. Here are a few more examples of our packaging, of different types of packaging meant to pack various types of snacks, dry food, muesli, bars, as well as frozen and chilled food, tea, and bread products, bakery products. And we are also supplying packaging not only to the food industry, but to the fashion industry as well. So here you can see a few examples of our resealable bags, zipper bags, as well as open pouches. And we are lucky to be working with a number of clients and partners. So here you can see just a small part of them. Starting from food brands, food retailers, converters, as well as non-food companies. And we've been observing the positive developments in the packaging sector with great admiration and interest, seeing how industry leaders have committed to use only sustainable packaging, including compostable packaging, by 2025. And how many smaller companies follow their lead. So if your company would like to bring more sustainability to your supply chain and to explore the option of going compostable, we'd be more than happy to help you do that and to offer a suitable compostable alternative so that you wouldn't need to compromise nor on the quality that your customers are used to, nor on sustainability. And I'd like to end my presentation by sharing Tipa's vision, which is something that motivates and inspires us every day. So at Tipa, we strongly believe that flexible packaging should be part of our organic waste. It should decompose and fully go back to nature as a resource. So I'd like to thank you very much for your attention. It was a brief presentation. So if you'd like to learn more, I'd like to invite you to visit our website, tipa-corp.com. You can also drop us a line there in the contact us form. And of course, I also invite you to ask questions that are relevant to you in the Q&A session at the end of this event. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the event and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Avital. It was an amazing presentation. I love the idea of being inspired in a fruit peel. Very nice. So to continue, I would like to invite Sharon Barak from Soliton to be the next speaker.
Thank you. Just one second. I will just film my presentation. Okay. Hello all, good morning, good afternoon. Sorry, my name is Sharon Barak. I'm the founder and CTO of Soliton. Our vision is to eliminate single-use plastic waste for good. Today, we have 5 plastic islands floating in our ocean. The size of each plastic island is about twice the size of Texas, and they are growing by the minute. Tipa has demonstrated and explained the magnitude of the problem, so I will only do it with a few words. We produce about 400 million tons of plastic each year. Half of it goes to a single-use plastic product, and the damage it creates is enormous. governments and municipalities spend hundreds of billions of dollars each year to deal with those issues. We can see more and more regulation all over the world in order to deal with the situation. But what we saw for the past more than a year since the corona got into our life is that regulation is not enough, because once we have a worldwide crisis like the COVID, everybody goes back and use the single-use plastic products. So we understand and we see that we truly need a technology solution. And currently today, there is no biodegradable material in the market which is cost-effective. What we are doing here in Solo2, we are developing a raw material which is fully biodegradable and won't harm the environment. Our material dissolves in water, and after it dissolves, it will biodegrade into nature. But more than that, our material, what we have developed, is a unique mechanism that allows us to control the dissolve phase, meaning from the time the material comes in contact with water till it will start to dissolve, we can control this phase, and we can actually make our product durable enough to humidity and to water. And by that, we open our products to that it can be used for a range of applications and can pack a range of products, even products that have wetness inside of them. The life cycle of our product, we start from synthetic polymers, which are available in the market. From those synthetic polymers, with our unique know-how, we're creating our compound. This compound can go directly to existing machinery in converters today in the market. We are mainly focusing on flexible packaging, so we're using blow film and casting, meaning that at the same machinery that we are producing today, the range of films, instead of using polyethylene or polypropylene or other plastic polymers, you can use our compound, use it in this machinery, and get your product at the end. The product we can make it by the customer specification or by our generic materials that we already developed. The end of life, as I already mentioned, it will dissolve once it comes in contact with water, and it will fully biodegrade into CO2 and water. We are also looking at a holistic approach to the end of life, since this is what we are looking. When we started Solo2, we saw the water biodegradable in front of our eyes, because we saw that plastic islands in the ocean, and we wanted to find a solution for that. So we already tested our material, and our material stands by ISO 14852, and they can biodegrade in water. But we also want to see what other end-of-life solution we have. So our material can be used for energy recovery. We are now testing it for composting by EN 13432. And another solution is upcycle, meaning you can use it at the end of life, once it will be collected properly, and we can use it for a different material, which can be used in for adhesive binder, for the paint industry, for example. So we have a circular economy by that. We are not only looking at the fact that our material is biodegradable or bioplastic. Our R&D team, almost all our R&D team, the PhDs and the engineering ones, comes from the industry. So we know that we need to have materials that fit the industry requirements. Our compound is flexible. We can tailor-made it by the specification of the client, whether if it's mechanical properties, whether you want to print on it, whether you want to add color, or whatever other demands we need for our material. Just a few words about the market. So the plastic industry is huge. It's over $1.2 trillion annually. We are focusing on the flexible packaging, which is over a third of this market. And today, almost all the food packaging today are those plastic, and it's necessary for transformation and to storage it in the shops. Now, once we're looking on the bioplastic market, we can see that the numbers are rising very fast, more than 17% growth annually. And the forecast is that by 2025, over $7 billion will be bioplastic materials. And this is very encouraging, since the bioplastic materials cost much more than the regular plastic that we're using today, from 3-4 times more up to 7, 8, 15 times more. Also, we looked at the market and how consumers are now buying their products. And over 2/3 of the consumers prefer to buy at companies that are concerned as sustainable companies. A few words about our company, about Solothurn. So we already applied for our first patent, and we're now working on 2 more. We started our scaling up, and we produced a few tons of raw materials here in Israel. We are working on 2 products now piloting. One is for shrink wrap, to wrap the bottles as a secondary wrap, and polybag for clothes. We also have other products in a smaller scale currently, with the beauty cosmetic and the food industry as well. We established a very high equipped laboratory, so we can do over more than 90% of the R&D in-house. This is our vision, to have a clean ocean and environment once again. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it in a later stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I had the opportunity to see a video of Solothurn, that it's very nice, of the packaging dissolving in water. So I encourage people to watch as well in YouTube. I think it's very, very nice to see the solution working.
Thank you.
Well, to continue, and as the last but not less important company, Yoav Roshin from Impacts. Please, the stage is yours.
Yes, thank you, Paula, and thank you, the whole team. And first, I'd like to thank the whole team in Brazil for hosting this event, and the whole team, CEOs and teams from the different companies in Israel. So congratulations for great presentations. My name is Yoav. I'm heading the business side and one of the co-founders of a company called Impacts. We used to be called Water.io because we actually started with smart packaging for the hydration market, remind people to drink more. As a result, we actually built a few products that are in the market, including this smart ball that tracks how much water you drink, and together with an app reminds you to drink more. So this is Water.io. Used to be once the name of our company, now the name of our smart hydration Internet of Packaging solution. Another solution that I'm going to tell you about today is Vitamins.io. That's a smart cup that tracks and reminds you to take your vitamins, pharmaceutical products, and supplements on time, again connected to an app. So let's start with presentation in the next 9 minutes that we have here. And of course, both me and Newton, which is participating in this meeting and located in Brazil, will be happy to answer your question later on in the Q&A part. Impacts, we are empowering product usage analytics in the consumer packaged goods industry. So, you know, today, I'm sure you guys coming from the consumer packaged goods industry know that brands want to get product usage and customer data. So there are many companies that are focused on different stages of the product life cycle, whether this is during the production, during the manufacturing process, whether this is during transportation, logistics, fulfillments, and even in the store or online, what we do, what product we choose, and so on. So there's a lot of data gathered on those places throughout the life cycle of the product. But what happens when a consumer picks up a bottle of a consumer packaged good, food, beverage, vitamins, supplements, home care, beauty care, personal care, pharmaceutical? What happens when somebody picks up a package from the shelf, buy it and go home, or purchase it online and get the package at home? What happens when the product is at home? Well, this is the place where there is no data today. And we believe this is the most important place because that's the place where brands can learn if their customers are really using the product, how they use the product, if they've stopped using the product, and to start with, who is that customer? This is something that most brands don't know, and we are here in Impacts. Exactly, that's our mission, to provide eyes and ears and data in this huge $1.9 trillion per year consumer packaged goods market, one of the biggest markets on earth. Nobody knows what's going on at home when we get the products themselves. So brands get product usage and customer data by using our platforms. We're going to show exactly how. The kind of data that brands getting by using the Internet of Packaging platform from Impacts is things like name, location, what type of product has been used, how much is left in the package, and when is the opportunity to reorder or refill. And for the consumer, it means for the first time, getting a personalized, connected digital experience. So think about all the stuff that we buy at home. Again, let's give as an example vitamin supplements, but you can get to think also on a similar example in home care, cleaning products, cosmetics, and everything else. We use and buy those products pretty much like our parents did years ago, and even our grandparents. It's the same things in bottles or in packages. Nobody knows when we use it. Nobody knows, not even us, when this is about to run out and we need to remember to buy a new one. We just remember this when we see the empty bottle that we hold. Well, not anymore. We believe part of the new experience in consumer packaged good will be a personalized customer experience, including reminders when to use the product, opportunities to get knowledge and education from the brand about the product through our phones, and even an automatic reorder when the product is about to run out. And the technology benefits of this patented platform are three advantages. One, it's about increasing sales, and this is happening thanks to automatic reorders that the consumer get through their phones once the current product is about to run out. But not only that, it's also based on data-driven insights about coupon, about direct communication and engagement, and even about sustainability. So at least two of the companies prior to me mentioning sustainability. We are also big supporters of that, and some of our offerings are about the opportunity for brands to move to a more sustainable way and ship only refillable pouch, similar to the ones that Tipa is sending, while we provide the reusable, smart connected bottle that create that reorder when the product is about to run out. So let's have a look how this is actually working. So in each and every smart cap that we provide, the smart bottle, there is the electronic brain. That's a consumer packaged goods, CPG, dedicated computer that we invented. It's very low cost. It can work for a long time. It is suitable and certified specifically for consumer packaged goods packages. And what it does, it tracks things like opening and closing of the cap. It tracks things like the height of the level or the product that remains in the bottle inside. So we measure that. So all that is part of the electronic brain. The second part of what we call the Internet of Packaging platform, IOP, similar to IoT, but Internet of Packaging. So the second part is about big data, artificial intelligence, cloud, mobile service that we provide, and eventually actionable insights. One example for that is exactly this reusable smart connected bottle that is over here. The consumer gets the bottle, gets an app with the brand that we build it, but it actually comes with a beverage or with a bottle company brand, and the brand itself gets a dashboard with all the insights, opportunity to engage, and so on. So highlight on two of our current commercially available products. One is the smart water bottle that we called Water.io. We provide either the full bottle or we license the technology and work with companies that build their own version of their connected bottle using our technology. The technology inside the smart cup can measure the liquid level inside the bowl, can measure every time the cap is opening and closing, and provide reminders for people to drink according to how much they need to drink today. Each one of you has its own hydration profile. We know that profile. The algorithm calculates it based on the data that you provide to the app, like age, height, weight, and so on. Based on that, you get reminders to how much you need to drink. It's a rechargeable battery. It works with Bluetooth, and it works even without a phone, and that works on a standalone mode. The other example is Vitamins.io. I showed you one version, which is the smart connected cup that goes on top of existing regular packages, but we're also working now on a smart refillable, rechargeable bowl. Looks like this. You charge it once a month, and the vitamin and supplement brands provide it or sell it to their customers, and they ship every month simply a refill, disposable package with the next item. And the reorder is based on consumption and not based on time. So if the customer hasn't been using his or her pills this month, then the reorder event is not happening only when it's about the time. And of course, it's a very sustainable version. Few words to summarize about who we are. We were established in 2015, 6 years ago. We are located south to Tel Aviv. We have more than 500,000 smart cups in the market so far, patents and about the things that we do. We work with some of the biggest global corporations, some of which are mentioned here on this section in different categories. And we'll be happy to work with you and see how we can prosper together with the brands, the consumer packaged goods brands, beverage brands, bottle brands, and vitamin supplements brands, as well as other CPG brands in the Brazilian and in Latin American markets. Any questions, feel free to contact us at info@impacts.io or directly to me, yoav@impacts.io. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yoav. It's amazing where the technology can take us, right? Guys, I encourage you to ask your questions in the Q&A now, when we can read. If you want to put the questions in Portuguese, we can translate, no problem. I would like to start by asking a question to Paulo about the challenge, Paulo. So just to understand if the Israeli startups, if they can participate directly in the challenge, or if they need a local partner to apply.
No, they can apply by themselves directly. No intermediary on that. And also, Danny, I can see that your solution could go to the food loss challenge as well when you were explaining the solution, because one of the category we are looking for is to how to increase shelf life from the field to the shelf. Understand? So maybe your solution. But I want to make a comment here. What amazing technology you all show. That's why Tali says you are leading in the innovation. It's unbelievable. Congratulations to all.
Thank you very much. We have a question here in the Q&A that was already answered, but maybe you want to comment to other participants. I will read the question, and if Danny or Avital wants to comment, okay? So it's a question from Nelson Roberto Furquim. Question to Danny and Avital. Considering that the presented package is incredible in terms of innovation, may be used for everyday food, which would be the impact of their costs in the final prices of the traded food?
I'm happy to comment on that. So compostable packaging is indeed more expensive than conventional plastics, but it's important to know that when you purchase relatively cheap conventional plastic packaging, there is a high environmental cost which is not included in the price. And there is also a waste treatment cost, which is also not included in the price. And you'll have to deal with that after the usage of the product. If you choose compostable packaging, what you need to do to ensure a proper sustainable end of life is simply place it in compost. And today more and more products are certified home compostable, including our products. So you can just place it in your garden compost, in your community compost, and the nature will do its job. Another positive development we noticed is that the end consumers are becoming more and more environmentally aware and environmentally engaged, and they often show preference for environmentally friendly solutions such as sustainable compostable packaging, and they're even willing to pay more for that. We especially noticed this trend during and post-COVID. So compostability can become a good additional selling and PR point as well.
Okay, I'll refer to the question as well, and I already answered that it's volume dependent. The pricing is volume dependent, and of course, in tens of millions and so on and so forth, the price would be only a few cents. We already have surveys from the stores and from the supermarket areas, from the consumers as well, that they're willing to pay these extra few cents. As long as the sensor indicates the freshness and the quality of the food. We got the same feedback from operation and supply chain that creates awareness that the product or the temperature controlled food could be abused and so on and so forth. So these are the limits of the pricing, and it's a printing industry. We bring our know-how to the printing industry, and it's cheap, it's small, and it's visual.
Thank you, then. Maybe Yoav and Sharon would like to also answer the question. It was asked just after the presentation of Avital, but if it's you see it as also an interesting and it's an interesting thing to answer about. Sharon, you have?
Yeah.
You're muted.
Sure. Do you want to repeat the question? There was a discrepancy, please.
Yes, sure. See it, yes. The question was, considering that the presented package, of course, incredible in terms of innovation, may be used in everyday food, which would be the impact of their costs, of the final prices and the trend of food. So it could be cost, it could be the production and everything around that, which I think would be interesting for your products also.
Yes, so I'll start with an example on vitamin supplements. We based on the models that we see from the vitamins and supplements companies that we work with. So the cost of the service is actually makes sense if the at least in vitamin supplements, if a customer is purchasing a package of vitamin supplements in at least $15 per unit, so it's not suitable for the very low end of like $5 no brand vitamin C, like private label from supermarket, but anything else starting with $15 per month already provides an opportunity for the brand to increase consumption of the consumers and increase loyalty for that specific product in opposed to customers churning and moving to a competitor's vitamin supplement. So the additional cost makes it a very strong ROI already on that level of, I would say, monthly consumption of $15 per month per customer.
Thank you, Yoav. Sharon, you would like to?
Yes, I think that Avital also mentioned it. Of course, our materials cost more than the regular plastic. Although our materials, as opposed to other bioplastic in the market, cost less, it will cost about 2 to 2.5 times more than the regular plastic. The regulation will support it. Already today, whoever produces the packaging needs to pay an extra fee because someone needs to deal with the packaging and the end of life. It costs more today, for example, to bring those materials to Europe, materials that do not biodegrade. So it will be a balance between what the regulation can help, and while we will scale up, the cost will probably reduce. We do not forecast that in the near future it will be the same as the regular plastic. But it won't be as high as it is today.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Let me quickly introduce here myself before I read the next question. As previously mentioned by Paulo, my name is Deborah. Some of you may know me already. I am the manager of the plastics, clean tech, and packaging sectors here at the Israeli Ministry of Economy office in Brazil. Nice to meet you all. Thank you very much for your presence. Let me take this opportunity to read the first question I see here for Shahom. Still for you. One of our colleagues is asking about the resins, if it's possible to convert them in an extrusion coating and use them with paper. Could you please comment on that?
Yeah,
For Shahon and Avital.
Yeah, same question also for Avital.
Okay. So this is a product we are working now. The basic answer is yes, but we are still doing an R&D work on the lamination with paper. Currently today, we are more using it either as mono or coax, so we can use it in layers, but with the same materials. And in the near future, we will also be able to do it with paper, since it is a product that we are already developing.
Okay, so I'll comment from our side. So just to clarify, we do not provide raw materials such as resins or pellets. We supply films and laminates. Our films are co-extruded. So if you are a converter, we can supply you with a home compostable reels of film, and then yes, you can laminate it with paper. And regarding the inks, I see there was additional question. Yes, there are actually quite detailed and strict guidelines what inks you can use to make the material and the final packaging to make sure that it remains compostable. There are guidelines in terms of the weight that is allowed, the terms of color, which color can have how much weight, and in comparison to the weight of the final packaging. So we are happy to share this know-how with all the converters and co-packers and brands that we cooperate with. Or we can also supply with printed reels. So it's really up to you whether to purchase unprinted reels, and we can assist you with choosing the right combination of compostable inks, or we can provide you with the printed reels that will make sure that they remain compostable.
Thank you, Avital. We have another question, I think, from no, it was answered already, I think. From Flavio Lopez as well, to Danny, if it's possible to put your technology between extrusion and lamination. Danny?
Yes, I've seen the question. I need to discuss it with our CTO, but can I get a specific use case in which such usage is something that can, I need a use case from the market in terms of a package or a product, or and then I could refer to this in more detail. So a specific use case would be much appreciated. In parallel, I'll discuss it with my CTO and see if this is something could be applicable.
Thank you. We have another question from Luciani Cohen. Question to Tipa and Solanton. If it's possible to use the bioplastic for any packaging technology, different process.
Okay, so I will answer. We provide the resin and not the film, and the resin you can use in different machinery for whether it's blown film, whether it's casting or other machinery. If it's not blown or extrusion, then you can ask us individually, and we'll see if we have this solution as well.
Right, so in our case, it's different. We are actually providing films, laminates, and finished packaging. But generally speaking, bioplastics is a very wide industry. Bioplastics, what it means, the description means that it's materials, polymers that are either fully or partially bio-based and or biodegradable. And definitely the usage field is very wide. What we chose to concentrate on is flexible packaging, because we noticed that this is the type of packaging that is the most complicated to recycle. Most of flexible packaging ends up in landfills, and so we wanted to tackle this particular problem and to offer a viable alternative solution to make sure that we won't be dealing with non-biodegradable waste. And in contrast, we can learn from the nature of how to compost our waste and turn it into a resource. So our topic, our expertise lies in flexible, compostable, high-performance packaging, but there are definitely other fields, rigid packaging and other ways of creating compostable products.
Thank you very much, Sharon and Avital. I have a question now for Yoav or Newton, his partner. So Impact's expertise is IoT for packaging. I would like to know if, apart from the mentioned solutions, the water IO and the one for the vitamins, if you can also collaborate with big food companies in R&D for new projects.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. Yes, the answer is of course yes. This of course depends on the details, how much this is related to our core expertise. What we have been developing is a global generic Internet of packaging products. You know, there are hundreds of billions of packages that are shipped to the market every year on all those categories I mentioned before. We believe eventually all of them will generate data, similar to our phones, similar like TVs became smart TVs, cars are becoming smart cars, and so on and so forth. Consumer packaged goods products will become smart. Not all of them, not on the first day, maybe the ones that makes more sense to be reminded to use or to use reorders. Based on that, we have activities in other categories in addition to water IO and to vitamins IO. And we are happy to collaborate and qualify on a case-by-case such projects.
Thank you very much, Joel.
Paul, I have one further question, possible, for Sharon from Soto. Question is, I would like to know if a very humid climate, such as Brazilian tropical weather, could affect the process. I mean, the time that it takes for the packaging to dissolve, or has any other effect.
So this is one of the uniqueness of our mechanism, that we can give a high durability for our materials, so they will stand in very high humidity environment as well. We only need to get the specific data from the client, so we know what kind of grade to provide.
Great, thank you.
We have another question now from Rafael Panzetti. Sharon, how is your actual capacity of production to supply the market?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
I think he's asking about the production capacity currently of Solonton.
Okay. So currently we produced a few tons, which were needed for our scaling up. And we can use the facility here in Israel to produce up to tens up and hundreds of thousands of tons here in Israel. Once the capacity will be over than that, then we will go abroad with a partnership to overcome this.
Great, thank you. Any other question?
No, I think we're reaching our time, so it's just on time. I want to thank everyone, all the companies. Thank you for joining us today. I want to thank Paulo for the great partnership, I can say, after all these years. And of course, everybody that joined us today. With the biggest thank you to Paula and Deborah that made it all happen. So thank you very much. Great initiative, and we'll be happy to continue being here for you. I just wrote the email that we have for the Rio office. We'll be happy to contact you to the companies that just presented, to continue the conversation for questions that remained open and for any other questions that you have. And as I said, there is a lot more where it's coming from, so we will be happy to share with you any other information and solution that Israel has to offer. So thank you again. Have a great day, great evening for the ones in Israel, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Obrigada.
Ciao.
Tchau.